Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm barefaced because we're going to be doing a foundation review on a really hyped up foundation that is comparable to a high-end one, and it's the Maybelline Super Stay Full Coverage Foundation. I got two shades here because I didn't know like which one would match. It's hard to tell in the drugstore sometimes with shades, but I have the shade Buff Beige, which is 130, and I also have the shade 128, which is Warm Nude. So we're gonna give this a try, and then we're also gonna try out the Maybelline Age Rewind Eraser Concealer because I hear really good things about this, so I figured it'd be perfect to try out the new Maybelline foundation and the concealer. And I'm gonna be doing check-ins. I'll probably do one at the end of the night. I'm even gonna go to the gym, so we're really gonna give this foundation a good test. So to start off with my normal primers, just to give this foundation a good shot, I use the Too Faced Hangover foundation to hydrate because I am a little bit dry right now, and I also use the Benefit Pore Professional in the areas that my pores are larger. Okay, so I'm gonna try the Buff Beige first, number 130, see how that looks. And I'm going to be using a damp beauty blender because that's what I use most of the time. It's got a pump, which I love. This is great. I'll say the drugstore's really been stepping it up with their quality of makeup. Let's see. Let me look at the other one too just to see. So that's what that looks like. That might be a little bit dark. Yeah, I think that one's probably a better match. Now I know you're probably like, wow, both of those colors don't match, but I do fake tan, so I have a little bit of that residue on my body, and I do like my face to be a little bit darker, and I blend it down my neck just because of my body color, and my face in general is pretty pale compared to the rest of my body, so it looks weird in contrast. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on my beauty blender. Yeah, that's definitely a better match. We'll blend all this out. First impressions, it's pretty full coverage, which I prefer. I only go for full coverage foundations because of the discoloration in my skin and old acne scars, things like that. So far I'm liking the coverage a lot. And I'm gonna blend it down my neck in a second. So we're really gonna be giving this foundation a good test because I have to go to the gym today. I have to go every day. So there's really no avoiding that. I definitely have to go to the gym. And I have to do cardio and lift today, so I will definitely be getting a lot of sweat. So this will be really tested well. And even with any foundation, I don't expect it to hold up perfectly during a gym session. So, you know, you're sweating your ass off, so. Now my number one problem with all foundations is my laugh lines creasing, and no matter what foundation I wear that kind of happens. It's just some foundations hold it off longer than others. So looking up close, it has very good coverage. I'm really impressed with the coverage. My pores, you can definitely see them, but it's not terrible, and it doesn't seem to be clinging onto any dry patches necessarily, so that's good. So far, after first application, after the first minute or so, I'm liking it. So just for reference, my favorite foundation is the L'Oreal Infallible Matte Foundation. That's my favorite drugstore foundation, so we'll see how this compares. Now I'm gonna go in with the concealer, and I got the shade 120 Light Pale. Because you want your concealer to be lighter than the rest of your foundation to highlight under your eyes. So I guess you twist this. Okay, yeah, and then the little sponge thing looks like it's getting saturated there. So I think I need to do it a little bit more. Nothing's coming out yet. I think it's getting there, okay. You gotta really twist it to get it started. Yeah, I always go much lighter with my under eye concealer to cancel out any darkness. Just draw your highlighting triangle here. feels really creamy and nice. I'm gonna highlight the rest of my face where you normally would highlight. Even with my foundation, since I do go a little bit darker, the concealer when I highlight kind of balances everything out. And this doesn't seem to dry too fast, so you have time to work with it. Up close, I really like this actually, like a lot. I typically use the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer, but I'm really liking this. So now to set everything, I'm gonna use the Coty Airspun Loose Face Powder. I'm just gonna go everything one more time to make sure there's no creasing before I set my face. And I am going to bake because that's just typically what I do so that things last longer, especially because I'm going to the gym. So you just dip your beauty blender in the powder there and let it sit there heavily so that it can bake. And then you brush off the excess later. And I do at my laugh lines because I crease bad there, at my top lip because I have a dimple there, and my forehead lines. And I'm just gonna go ahead and use a big large face fluffy brush to set the rest of my face, going around those areas. Now while that's baking, I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my face to see how other products lay on top of the foundation. So I'm gonna bronze first, and I'm gonna use the MAC Give Me Sun bronzer. Then I'm gonna contour, and I use the Kat Von D Shade and Light Face Contour Palette. I use this every day. I mentioned this in my Sephora VIB recommendations because I use it literally every day. And for blush, I'm going to use the Milani Illuminati, I think it's, oh no, Luminoso, sorry. Luminoso blush. So far, all the products are blending like normal on top of the foundation really well. So it's not skipping or getting stuck or moving the foundation around or anything like that. And then for highlighter, I found a new one, the Maybelline Master Holographic Highlighter. This just looks so freaking cool. It caught my eye immediately. It looks like look at that. Cool, right? I'm telling you, the drugstore is stepping it up. So I'm just gonna go with my highlighting brush here. Oh wow. It's a little bit chunky for my liking. It's not as smooth as what I typically like, but it's pretty. You can see it there. Okay, so I have my whole face done with all my products. I just don't have my eyes done. So far, first impressions, I have to say I'm really impressed with the foundation. I really like it. All the products that I typically use layered on really nicely. It's really full coverage, which I love. It looks really nice on the skin. I really like it so far. I'm really impressed. It's definitely giving my favorite drugstore foundation, the L'Oreal Infallible Matte, a run for its money. I'll say that. It is a matte foundation. This Maybelline Super Stay foundation, so I do like that because I typically do like either a matte foundation or a satin, and it's not super matte, it's not overly matte. I've definitely tried foundations that are more matte than this, so I think that even people with dry skin will like this. So I'm gonna do some check-ins in a couple hours. I'm gonna do some things I need to do. I'll go to the gym and I'll come back and let you know what I'm thinking. I'll see how it creases in my laugh lines. Like I said, most foundations end up eventually do crease in my laugh lines. It's just how long it holds off until doing so. So yeah, so far I really like it. I like the concealer a lot. It's really pretty. It's not as drying as the Tarte Shape Tape. It's really looks nice. I'm really impressed so far. So I will see you guys in a few hours. Okay guys, so as you can tell, I look like I'm tired. Not like how I did earlier in the video. That's because it's been a full 12 hours since I last saw you when I first applied the foundation. So yeah, I've been grocery shopping. I food prepped my entire week's worth of food for competing. I went to the gym, I lifted, and I did cardio, so I sweat a bunch. So I really gave this foundation an all days test, 12 hours. With intense working out, running errands. So I have to say, girl, this foundation is blowing me away. It's one of the best foundations I've ever tried, honest to God. It's very comparable to my YSL All Hours foundation. This, I think, is actually one of my new favorite foundations. It's right next to, it's a tie with my L'Oreal Matte Infallible foundation. My YSL All Hours foundation I also love a lot, just as much as this. But this is just performing actually even slightly, I would say about the same. It's not any better, it's not any worse. But I do have some creasing in my laugh lines, like right here and in my upper lip. But I didn't start getting the creasing until the last 2 hours. So for the first 10 hours, it was really good. And I don't look overly oily in my T-zone. I just look normal. The only thing is this creasing here, which I normally touch up if I'm out. I will touch that up with a beauty blender or a brush, or even just my finger a little bit. But my pores look good. It's not clinging to dry patches. It looks really good, and this is definitely a foundation I'm going to come back to over and over and over again. I can tell you that right now. So I can zoom you in just so you can see what my skin looks like up close. So yeah, I mean, it looks really good texture-wise. You do see that I have some creasing in the laugh lines here and in my upper lip where I have that dimple. But other than that, it's like, and it's just amazing how well it's held up. On my forehead too, just a little bit of creasing in the forehead lines, but you can really only see that when you look up really close, which is why I wanted to zoom you in so you could see everything up close. But yeah, overall I am just 100% blown away, impressed. I'm gonna go back to this foundation definitely. I actually might go one shade lighter. This is a little too dark than what I am right now, but this is again shade Buff Beige 130. So this is the Maybelline Super Stay Full Coverage Foundation. Definitely full coverage, definitely long wearing, because I worked out in it and it didn't seem to melt off anywhere. It didn't cling to dry patches. It's definitely matte, but I would 100% recommend this foundation. This is definitely a new top favorite for me, and I am going to come back to this for sure. You're probably going to see me use it in tutorials now because I actually really like it, and it's comparable to a high-end foundation. It's comparable to my YSL Hours foundation, which is one of my favorite foundations. So this is easily can replace it. As for the concealer, the Instant Age Rewind, in love with it. Absolutely in love with this too. I love the applicator. I've never had a concealer that has an applicator like this. I love the color. The shade range I know has just recently expanded. It doesn't get too dry like my Tarte Shape Tape, which is what I normally wear. This actually looks better, in my opinion, when it comes to creasing. I still creased a little bit, which is normal. It's kind of hard for me not to crease, even though I bake, but I have been wearing this for 12 hours. But it looks much more youthful and not as heavy as my Tarte Shape Tape. just because it's not clinging to the dryness in the under eye area that I normally get. So yeah, overall, again, I would 100% recommend this also. It's full coverage. You can't see my dark circles with it. And it's a great concealer, I think, for any skin type, because I'm actually kind of dry under there, and it did not make my eyes look drier or crepier or anything like that. So I'm really surprised. I honestly didn't think that I was gonna like this foundation, because I actually do not like any of the other Maybelline foundations whatsoever. Any of their other lines, I hate them, to be honest. But this is amazing. I love the foundation, love the Age Rewind concealer. I would say these two combined is perfect combo. If you don't have the money for high-end stuff from Sephora, use this, because it's literally, there's no difference. So I just am blown away. But I'm gonna go wash this off now, because it's now midnight and I've had this on for 12 hours and I need to go to bed. I have work in the morning, I have to work out, blah, blah, blah. So I just wanted to give you my final update on how much I liked the foundation and what it looks like now before I wash it off after being on for 12 hours, working out, running errands, cooking. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe.